Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are doing Temptation Island Season 3 Episode 10, the final bonfire part 1. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. If you like the video, smash that like button, and also feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's jump into this. So we have been through 9 episodes leading up to this point. We now see Mark showed up with the guys and the girls in the villa. He first showed up with the guys to inform everyone that it's time to say their goodbyes. So basically, I would say they're placeholders, or it's the singles. And it couldn't be more apparent over at the guys' villa, of course, where we had Sophia looking very, very sad to go. And then, of course, Amanda, she's hoping that she can convince Corey that she's going to be that girl for him. And, he's trying to play tough. Oh, yeah, I know, I've learned a lot in this, and she's not going to push me around anymore. And I'm going to make the best decision. And, we're not going to forget about each other. I'm like, okay, yeah, Corey. We'll see about that. But Amanda is definitely hoping, that they can be together. But, he did thank her for all of her support through this journey on the island. And Amanda definitely played the part of being very supportive to him, which, I'm glad that, she was there for him during the process. Okay, so now we have the conversation between Tula, and we have the conversation between Julian and her. And, Tuya gave him a lot of advice throughout this process. One, I would say, cringy moment happened when Julian told Tuya that he would think of her every time he saw the engagement ring. And I'm like, yeah, that's not good, especially if it's on Kristen's finger. But I guess he was just trying to express how thankful he was to Tula and how much she supported him to help pick out the ring and everything. But that's the last thing I think Kristen would want to hear. And then, we have Thomas and Sophia. Thomas didn't display any type of, I would say, genuine thankfulness towards Sophia, but rather he kind of lukewarm said that he would miss her. Sophia, of course, retorted by saying, I miss you more. But, Thomas promised that they'll stay in touch. But he, truly wanted to probably get back with Chelsea, like he claimed. But staying in touch, I don't think is going to be in the cards for him. And he's more likely ruin any chance of reconciling with Chelsea once he hooked up with Sophia. So, I don't know, but Sophia is definitely holding out hope. And then we have Kendall. And Kendall almost showed a little bit of emotion with Alexis, because Alexis started crying when she was saying her goodbyes to him. He did give her some consolation by telling her to just trust his judgment. Yeah, okay, so he cheated on his girlfriends multiple times, had a threesome, but you want her to trust your judgment. Okay. I don't know if Alexis was upset about Kendall leaving, or the fact that, maybe this is just all over for her. But, it is what it is. But I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket if I was her, because he really didn't give any definites. Just trust his judgment towards what? So we'll definitely see what happens with Kendall and whether he decides to go ahead and leave with Alexis, or if he's going to try to get back in Erica's good graces. So it's time's up, and everybody had to give their hugs and say their final goodbyes, give a couple of kisses to each other, and the singles were off. But, of course, the guys got some thinking to do. And with Thomas, he had to watch his Sophia walk away. But I'm curious, to see what these endings are going to be like, because Kendall was definitely getting a lot of final kisses in with Alexis. But yeah, she really has her hopes up. But that's it pretty much for the singles on the guys' side. So let's now slide over to the girls' villa. And we see our ladies here actually having some conversation with their singles. Of course, I'm more curious about what's going to happen with these two, with Blake and Chelsea. But they get the same information. They come in one by one as a couple. And I know that had to been, produced. Like, okay, you guys walk in and you guys walk in next. Because I thought that was kind of interesting that they weren't all together. And they all came in twos. Let me know what you think about that. Maybe I was just overwatching. I don't know. Anywho, so this is where we again see Mark come in and tell these group of folks that the time is up. You need to say your final goodbyes because the guy singles are going home. And of course, now the ladies have to make some decisions on what they are going to do in regards to their choices at the bonfire. So, of course, now that leads to some final conversations. And this is where we see Erica and Jesse. And I honestly don't think that Jesse has a deep connection with Erica. It seems like it's forced between the two of them. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think. But she was definitely saying goodbye to Jesse. Erica thanked him for helping her to question herself and not just focusing on her relationship. She said that she is now a new woman, and Jesse agreed that she was completely different from the first day here on the island. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, but of course, we hope Erica continues to focus on herself and not fall back and be manipulated. So now we have Erin and Jawan. And Erin thanked Jawan for standing by her, even though she originally tried to push him away. And, I don't know, what her friendships or everything are like, but, it seems like she does like to push people away. She's definitely doing that with Corey. Erin gave Jawan a big hug goodbye, and of course, they begin to mentally prepare for the bonfire. And of course, we see that happens as well with Kristen as she's ready to see Julian as she's talking to Lex and discuss her next steps. Kristen also expressed her appreciation to Lex for listening and asking the hard questions about their relationship. So, I'm hoping that Erin doesn't blow this. I mean, Julian is ready to propose, and I just see her really going left with this. But we'll definitely see what her decision is at the bonfire. Then it came to Chelsea and Blake. And as we remember, we called him Blake the Flake. Or should I say fake? Chelsea claimed she had it harder than the other girls because she was the only one that made an actual connection. But I don't know. I wouldn't say Erica and Jesse had a connection. I didn't see anything there, but maybe other folks did. Let me know what you think. However, Blake looked stoic. I don't know if he's really truly interested. He says it through his mouth, but his actions and facial and body expressions doesn't really say that. So I don't know. I mean, she definitely is interested in him. But I don't know where he is. It's kind of like trying to read his face. He says in his confessional that, I'm hoping that she realized that she deserves better and that I'm that man for her. But I don't know. But they, they hugged it out. And of course, we see Mark comes in and say, okay, this is it. Everybody pack it up. Time to go. I don't care where you go, but you got to get the heck out of here. But anywho, I'm just being funny. But yeah, they definitely shared this tearful moment. Same thing with Jesse and Erica. Again, his face says something else. It doesn't share a connection or whatever. So, I'm hoping to find out what's going to happen. So first up is Erin and Corey. And then, of course, we'll get to see Erica and Kendall later. So this is where we saw how Mark kind of prepped Corey to make sure he knew now was the time to decide if Erin was the one or if someone else was better for him. And Corey was like, yeah, I'm ready. So then Erin made her entrance, and the question is he going to stay that strong guy that he was telling Mark and Amanda about? Mark laid down the ground rules. They will both each have a turn to talk, and then the other would listen until they're done. So this is where we see Corey drop this bombshell that he felt unloved by Erin and avoided arguments on purpose not to get her upset. He admitted that his worst fears of Erin was leaving him for another athletic type like the Griffin guy that was on the island. And, the thing is, she did pick him for a date, so his thoughts had came true in the moment. Then we have Erin admitting that she saw that he gained confidence, but was not thrilled that he was so open with Amanda because he wasn't that open with her. Now, I mean, she tend to push people away, so how do you expect somebody to be open with you? Erin said even though she wasn't happy with Corey because she had to make all the decisions in the relationship, she learned she needed to work on herself as well. And then she dropped a bombshell about her past relationships, that they were toxic and included getting physical. And this was one of the reasons why she had always taken her anger out on him. And of course, Erin hoped that Corey would now understand her behavior towards him, and she apologized for pushing him away. And so this is where Mark immediately jumped in because of what, Corey and her talked about on the overnight date with Amanda, and wondering if he was going to fall back into old ideologies and molds and the same old thing, and that's a good question. Will he go back home, and the moment that, Erin says something to him, is he going to go right back into his little, okay, whatever you say type of mode? So I'm glad Mark actually said something. Mark actually said he didn't believe him that he was going to stay strong and change and move forward. But at the end of the day, Mark asked them what they wanted to do, and they decided to leave the island together. And so they were definitely happy. Mark was happy. Hopefully, the two of them learned something about themselves and learn something about how to be different in their relationship going forward. I honestly, I'm hoping for the best, but I don't know if they're going to go back into old trends. If she's going to get cold and shut down, and is he going to kind of back down every time she try to stand up to him? So we'll see in the after party, I would call it. All right, so next up was Erica and Kendall. And of course, everybody is wondering what's the deal with these two and what's going to happen. So Erica decided to come out first. And, the first thing everybody was wondering is whether, Kendall was going to show up with the whole idea of the no rules clause that he talked about, which pretty much gave him a ticket to just do what he want because there were no rules. I had talked about this in an older episode that everybody got to be on the same page, even if it's no rules. But Mark greeted, of course, Erica, and she said that she learned a lot about herself and now that she's not the same woman. But we'll see, if she's going to stick to this, because here comes Kendall. And Kendall, of course, he sits next to her and he's kind of looking at her up and down. I don't know if because he's like, oh my God, she looks real attractive. You haven't seen her. She didn't send a video message. Whatever the case is, Erica definitely seems annoyed because of the fact that Mark told him to talk first. And so Kendall told Erica they came here to work on themselves individually and come back together strong. I don't know about a threesome is working on their relationship, but okay. Kendall said that he realized that he kept his guard up and that it made it difficult for her to love and love him and for him to be open with her. Kendall admitted his connection with Alexis and that he liked that she asked deep questions. And he went on to say that he is being a better version of himself who is free and not afraid. And again, with all that being said, I know Erica's facial expressions was annoyed with what he was saying, but it's her time to talk. So she told Kendall that when she first got on the island, her focus was to prove to him that she could be the woman he wanted her to be. But then Erica realized she needed to focus on herself. She firmly told him that he made her feel unworthy and wasn't deserving of unconditional love. And then Erica said that she wasn't the same person who came to the island, and she hoped that everything that he was doing was worth it. Kendall definitely had nothing to say. He was silent because he knew he was in the wrong. And Erica pressed him on sharing what he worked on to improve himself during the time on the island. And Kendall was like, well, I needed to work on putting myself out there emotionally. And yeah, okay. And so Erica quickly asked, how is having a threesome helping him open up emotionally? And she got no answer. Erica said that she wanted to understand why he immediately slept with random women without even a connection. And Kendall didn't have an excuse but blamed it on poor decision making. Kendall gave in and he actually apologized. He told Erica his behavior was totally unacceptable and he had many sleepless nights worrying about how he was going to explain all of this to her. And, Kendall then kind of flipped it back on Erica and asked if she had been faithful to him. And Erica admitted to kissing Jesse on the date. But the interesting thing is what they led us to believe when they went into that room with closed doors, that it may have been something else. We'll never know. But she said it was innocent and just kiss. Erica didn't fall for it. She confronted Kendall about his conversation with Alexis and having kids. Kendall, of course, did not like that conversation and told her not to make it seem like he was talking about future decisions with the whole world. And Erica was like, well, you were sleeping with the whole world. Yikes. So they left us hanging there. It was pretty interesting. We'll find out next week in part 2 what these two decide to do. Let me know what you think about that, guys. So let's do our post notification shout out. If you wanted to be shouted out, drop a comment. I will see you and shout you out. So the first one goes to Sonia Lewis. Thank you so much for engaging in your channel. I appreciate your comment. Next is Seth Rose. Oh, I really appreciate the comment. I'm glad you find my voice soothing. I appreciate your engagement as well. And then last but not least, Llama Bryant. Thank you. I really appreciate the fact that you enjoyed the video as well and that it was a good job. So until next week or until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.